I'm joined now by Dido Harding, boss of the internet service provider TalkTalk, and representing the government by the Conservative MP Penny Mordaunt, who sat on the parliamentary committee looking into these issues. Dido Harding, you have a filter, and you're the first people to have a filter. What's the take-up?
We've had our filter called HomeSafe live for 2 years. 1.2 million of our customers choose to use HomeSafe, and of that, roughly a third of them, just over 400,000 of them, have chosen to put in place those filters, and they love it. They tell us that they're really pleased we've asked them, and they're really pleased to use it.
Is this what you concluded needed to happen?
Yes, I think we've got to recognise that there is a problem. I know from casework I've dealt with in my own constituency that very young children are gaining access to some really horrific images. So I think we've got to deal with it. And I think the pioneering work that TalkTalk have done on this has shown that it's very much welcomed by parents, and parents who don't have enormous technical knowledge of how to install particular products on their computers. This takes the headache out of it for them.
But one swallow doesn't make a spring. I mean, the fact is that people can go to other internet providers.
No, that's right. And all of the big four internet service providers have all committed to have these sorts of filters in place by the end of the year, and that is a big deal. I appreciate that there isn't a single golden bullet that solves this problem, but I think it will make the internet genuinely a safer place for all families in the UK.
Is this solely about children, or is it about porn?
Well, I think it's, in part, it's about the cultural protections. It's about protecting children, getting access to particular images. But I think it's the other half of it is really looking at the criminal aspects of it. We're not talking about porn, the ordinary pornography. We're talking about violent images, and we're talking about child abuse. That's the other half of the announcement that the Prime Minister made today. It's about actually whatever money we've got to throw at this problem, using it in the smartest way, giving the police and CEOP more powers, actually cooperating with the United States and other partners to have a global solution to this, and to put pressure on the internet providers to say you are actually more than a notice board on which people can pin things. You direct people to content, and you have the technology to close down what is an industry, if I can use that term, in child abuse.
How does TalkTalk work out what it should block?
We work with external companies that manage that categorisation. It's exactly the same as the sort of software that, say, a firm like Symantec would use on your PC. It's not perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. When a content owner thinks that there is a problem and the content's been incorrectly classified, we look at it immediately and review it with an independent panel. You lock your house even though you know sometimes a burglar could get round it. This is just the same.
But this is interesting because, I mean, ordinary porn is okay. I mean, what about children's access to ordinary porn, as you put it? I mean, you know, when we were children, we were not exposed to this unless our parents took Playboy or something, and that wasn't pornographic even then.
Well, I think this is about parents being able to choose, and indeed, we were talking about this earlier on, parents making a conscious decision to put on those filters and ban those particular sites from access from their children. Clearly, people, you know, children are going to go and get their hands on pornographic magazines. It's not going to cut off access to all pornography. But what we're talking about is some really extreme stuff, and it's about the accessibility of it.
Well, the difficulty is that there are, for example, dramatic forms. There are feature films, there are plays in the West End in which dreadful things happen. There are, you know, violent rape scenes in some very acclaimed movies, for example. How do you prevent catching that?
Well, we have a classification system for film for exactly that reason. The internet is a much more complex world, but I don't think it's a world, therefore, that we should just not try to do anything at all. I think, by the way, the most important thing that a parent, and I'm a parent myself, can do with their children is talk to their children about what they're doing in the internet. No single technology solution will make you safe online, in the same way that no single technology solution will make you safe in the real world. We all have to engage in creating a number of different solutions, and I think this overall package today starts to do just that. It's the beginning, not the end of this.
One of the problems is we're dealing with a criminal, as you pointed out, class of people who want to peddle and make money out of this stuff. And the difficulty is that they, historically, throughout the internet's existence, have managed to find their way around devices. And why not this one too?
Well, this is considerably narrowing the field. The new powers that the Prime Minister has announced today for both CEOP and the police, and the new alliances and sharing databases, which hasn't happened before, all that will help actually crack down on these criminal elements. It's not going to solve every situation we get into, but it will narrow the field considerably.
Right.
And it means that we're using the resources we've got to chase down that final group.
Well, I'm old enough to remember Mary Whitehouse, Lord Longford, the Porn Crusades, you know, all the rest of it. And the sense then was that possibly there was a kind of manufactured moral panic. Might we not look back on this period and say we overdid it?
I don't think this is about any form of panic. This is about giving parents, fundamentally parents, the choice over what material comes into their home. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that's any form of censorship. I simply don't get or understand why that's censorship if I'm choosing what my children see. I do that in every other form.
Dido Harding and Penny Mordaunt, thank you both very much indeed.